I have a lot of photos still left to declutter, like in that green box, for example, or in that box, for example. And then there's the photo albums. I also have lots of homeschool stuff that needs to be decluttered, like here and here and in there. But what I really want to go after today, and I probably won't get it done today, but I'd like to get a little bit done, is working on these two boxes so that they can be up off the floor, since we have been working so hard on this area. This here is homeschool stuff, so I'm going to go for that first, and then if I get done with that, I'll go for this on the bottom. And then these from when we were painting, getting trim ready for our upstairs bathroom. We realized that this was old paint and could definitely go to the dump, where we have a paint center. So this old yucky paint is going to go over where I put things that are leaving the house. Okay, I got my little workstation set up here. I got my little heater on. Feels good. This is a file box where I declutter them into for stuff that I plan to keep. I should probably look at this too. So I might look through this before I start adding to it. I don't know. Well, some of this is easy, some of it's hard. There's two ways I can go about this. I can keep work from the beginning, middle, end, or I can keep all the tests. I tend to keep the tests. And then anything that's like just daily work, I get rid of. All right, where's my trash bag? Here's my trash bag. So I'm going to go through this stuff fairly quickly and pull out any daily work first. That's a no-brainer. And then I'll go through things where I actually need to keep a sample. I recognize most of you don't homeschool, but if you have paperwork that you need to declutter, now would be a great time. Or you could do anything. Just sit and relax. I'll tell you fun stories. I don't know. Once upon a time, there was a woman who had a messy house that needed to be decluttered. All right, I'm going to put a video on for myself. Fill these too full or they just get way too heavy.
Let me tell you one major difference between homeschooling and putting your child in school. When you put your child in school, you feel like all you need is those report cards and the transcripts and you're good to go. When you're a homeschooler, you always feel like you have to prove yourself, to prove that you really did work with your child. So you have to, or you feel like you have to keep a lot more.
This is full. This full is going to be ready to go.
This is my last year of homeschooling, and it has been a 30-year journey, and I am ready to be done. And a couple of years ago, I started letting this stuff go where I wasn't. Usually at the end of the year, I would do what I'm doing right now, which is so much easier because it's fresh in your mind what you've done. And then, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe after 2020, I got very slack and I just kept everything in a box. So now I'm kind of going back and trying to figure out what to keep, which I'm sure I'm keeping way too much. And I never do go through those files under my hands. But I feel like once I get everything kind of sorted in more of a macro way, then I can go through file folders that are much more organized and pull out just samplings from each year. Because honestly, I don't need to keep anything but a transcript in some ways, but I always feel like if anyone came back on me, I just want a portfolio, and a portfolio is typically a sample from the beginning, the middle, and the end of the year. I don't even need to keep all of the tests.
Your dinner's ready.
Wait a minute.
Your dinner's ready.
Oh, okay.
For supper tonight, my husband Robin made pork ribs, which was a great treat. He seasons this in 2 different phases. So the first phase, he's using onion powder, paprika, chili powder, garlic powder, salt, and brown sugar. He paid $4.49 a pound for the ribs, and so it came to $11.50 for the whole thing. I have never made bone-in ribs, but he has done this a few times, and we do really like them. So he's patting it all dry because there's this membrane that to me looks like fat, but it's not fat. It's an actual membrane. It's called peritoneum, if I am pronouncing that correctly, and you remove that. He said he also removed some of the fat because there just was more than was needed, but you're going to see him in the minute start with that membrane when he gets down where the bones are right now. He also suggests using a paper towel to help you. He's going to do that here in just a minute, and apparently keeping things dry and using a paper towel helps. Do I understand why? No, I do not. I wasn't even home at this point. This was a Tuesday for us, and so I took the opportunity to take 2 of my teenagers to see a movie because they're on school break this week. So that was a lot of fun. On Tuesdays, they have tickets discounted. And you know, movie tickets are so expensive these days, even when you do the matinee, that going when there's a discount is definitely optimal. So I realized it was a Tuesday and I was like, all right, you guys, let's get out of here. And that's actually one of the reasons why your video is not coming to you at noon, but at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is because I missed a lot of valuable editing time by going to the movies. But you know, family first, and it's great that they're on vacation and we can spend a little bit of time together. Robin is going to season both sides of the ribs with the spices that I mentioned, which was onion powder, paprika, chili powder, garlic powder, salt. And as you notice, he's just sprinkling across, and he does both sides. And then the brown sugar, he said that he did a heaping tablespoon on each side. So 2 tablespoons total, 1 tablespoon on one side, 1 tablespoon on the other. And you know, those other spices, they're really harmless. So putting too much of one is not going to be that big of a deal. Oh, and correction, if you notice, he just added ground cumin, which was not in my original list. It's interesting that I only used to use paprika when I would make a potato salad or, say, deviled eggs, and now it feels like I'm constantly using paprika. I don't know if the world changed or if I changed. Once you're done putting all your seasonings in, you just rub it in really good, and then once you've done that, you're just going to turn your spare ribs over and do the same thing again. Once he had done everything, he put the ribs in a 350-degree oven for 90 minutes. So you'll want to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. And honestly, once they came out, I was ready to eat them. I didn't even need them to be cooked again, but we won't be done yet. Robin lined a cookie sheet with tinfoil, and then he's putting parchment paper over the top of that. And honestly, that just helps us not to have a really awful cleanup at the end of the day, because this stuff cements itself to a pan and you'll want to throw the pan away instead of cleaning it. I mean, I suppose your Dawn power wash could do the trick, but why use all that elbow grease if you can just line your pans and then just throw away the liners? After the 90 minutes is up, he brings it out of the oven, putting it on a cutting board, and then he's going to cut between the bones, cut it all up, and add it to our crock pot. Of course, we put a liner in the crock pot too. Where have we gotten in our culture? You know, but I have no regrets because I hate scrubbing. So he's getting that all put in the crock pot. My dad had this very simple but surprisingly yummy way that he used to do country spare ribs, where he would take 2 parts ketchup to 1 part orange juice, spread it on the spare ribs, and barbecue them outside. And it was surprisingly delicious. So this is what we're doing for the second half. We're doing 2/3 of a cup of ketchup to 1/3 cup of orange juice. And we're going to stir that all up, put them on the ribs, and then cook them in the crock pot on low for 2 hours. Now, Robin was mentioning he thought they were a little dry. I didn't really think they were that dry. So he was saying he felt like he could have gone maybe an hour and a half on the crock pot side of it, but I thought they were really good. So he did the ketchup and the orange juice twice. And I'm watching it, editing it, going, yeah, I knew that. No, I didn't. And then he did a cap full, which is probably like a teaspoon, just under a teaspoon, maybe half teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. So a cap full. Little devil, I don't think he mentioned that. And then he's going to cover it, as I said, 2 hours on low. Of course, as per usual for me, we got halfway through dinner and I went, wait a minute, I never showed what they look like after. So here is our after shot of what was left over of the ribs, and they were really delicious. That was a really delicious meal, and I only showed you the ribs. We just put some vegetables with the ribs, and then a vegetable that everybody liked. And so there was cucumbers, there was peas, there was canned beets. The peas were frozen, and put down some French fries. I had asked my girls, what would you prefer, French fries or rice? Because I honestly don't care. I just add a carb for them. And they had said French fries, so that's what we did. And then after we ate, it took me like an hour to convince myself to come back down here and continue. I don't usually work at night, but I knew I just wanted to get this area cleaned up. So I kind of made myself come down here, and then once I was done or had gotten the floor cleaned off, then I took a shower, put on my pajamas, and I was stick a fork in me. I am done. And we watched a show, and I went to bed. But I have to say, and you guys are so sweet to me about posting daily. And I do love a channel where they post daily. And one of the ways it's helping me, and I want you to know that there are definite benefits for me. One of those is me putting the pedal to the metal on things I've been wanting to get done around the house. So, making sure we're in the bathroom. And part of it really honestly is, okay, I plan to put a video up about this, so let's get moving. And that has really helped me too. So it's going to be a super productive year, and I'm excited about it.
I need to get more file folders, so I'm going to put these in here that they were organized, but I never put them in a file. So I'm going to write that down to get more file folders. But thankfully, all this on the bottom was stuff I need to keep. And I'm just going to go through those books. I believe these are just the daily work. I don't think there's any tests in here. I know we did the tests. So we get rid of these. And we did the tests for this. It's just the language arts. Whoops. Some tests.
I have done emotionally overwhelming declutters, like when I was decluttering things that came from my mom after she passed away. That was so emotionally overwhelming. But I have to say, as far as decision fatigue, this declutter, I think, is my most overwhelming declutter, because when I'm decluttering things that I have purchased, I might feel guilty about ever making the purchase. I might feel like I'm wasting money. That's a whole different thing. But getting rid of things that I think might legally come back to bite me, that is even bigger. It preys on my anxiety. So this one was really, really tough for me.
All right, so this is trash. I got rid of 2 trash bags of papers. All right, so I do see in here, like, photo albums will go here with the photo albums. Unless they're empty. Nope. Get out another trash bag. So these, like, team pictures, I'll just take the pictures out, throw away the frames. These are the boxes for the kids that I'm dividing up for. And then a trash bag.
This particular box is a wake-up call. At first, I thought, oh, this is easy. It's a lot of scrapbooks, it's a lot of very large things. But then when I get near the bottom, I find Ziploc bags chocked full of photos. So this was a very reality check box for me of how far I have to go with the photos.
Stuff I'm either keeping or will need to make copies of.
I will tell you, there is no way I am scanning these videos into a computer. So the kids will get to choose if they want to keep the physical copies of these photos themselves.
Yeah, these are a lot of 8x10s, which I didn't imagine they were a lot, but if I find smaller ones, I can get rid of the 8x10, but I'm not going to worry about this right now. I'm just sorting.
If they decide to keep the physical copies or if they decide to scan them into the computer, that's on them. That is a project they can take on.
It's Rachel's dance.
What's hard to me about photos is I have had to give up the idea of what I think would be the perfect thing to do that is in my head. So when I was younger, the perfect thing to do, if you remember when scrapbooking just became a huge industry and there was the home parties for scrapbooking and all of that, and acid-free scrapbooking and journaling beside pictures and all that, you know, I dabbled in that, but it just wasn't me. I wasn't able to find time. I mean, I've got 7 kids. I wasn't able to find the time to really dive into that sort of thing. And so I've had to give up the perfect. And I think that this is why they piled up in these boxes this way, is I had to give up. I had to have the time to give up perfect because I was hoping I would do many things with photos that just are not me. It was definitely my fantasy self. And now I'm having to come to terms with who I really am, do the best I can for my kids, which is give them their photos and let them decide what they want to do with them. And then the ones that all of them are in, you know, I'm making copies of some that I do see as special, like if there's a grandparent that has passed away that's in the photo. Other than that, I'm just kind of dividing them up. And if they're ever at each other's house and going through photo albums and they go, hey, you have this one and I don't, they can decide to make a copy. So at first I really was trying to micromanage all of that, and I just realized I can't do it. I really cannot do it. I need to get this project done, and I need to get photos out of the basement. I realize this isn't where they should be. I don't have room in the main house for these photos, so it is what it is, and I've only found a couple that were ruined.
My bandwidth for this is up, but I made good progress. And a mess. This was actually me dividing things, if you can believe that. And this is what's left in here. What a mess. But you know what? It is what it is, right? So I'm going to try to combine what's left here with that so that I can do it another day, but still have it off the floor. This is really all photo albums. So I could put some of these up here. So that I can put photos in here. That's photos, that's photos. Hang on a minute. Like that. This is empty, so I'm getting rid of it. Getting rid of it. It's a photo album. I feel like I'm going to be taking the photos out of photo albums here at some point. Oh, all those frames I never decluttered. Oh no, these are all Rachel's. Okay. I wonder if so I can take this out. Or actually, I can leave it in. Sometimes I actually comfort myself by saying, you know, if we had a house fire, we lost all the pictures, we'd have nothing. So even if I damage some and some get ruined, at least we get something. I know, bad argument. All right, so this is all going in here until I can get down here and do it another day. But at this point, I'm killing me. I'm probably killing you too. And then here's some like twinkle lights. Get rid of that. Oh, this was a baby book, and I didn't fill it out because I suck at these, so that's going.
What is your most overwhelming thing to declutter in your home? Let me know in the comments section below. I would love to know, and I want you to know you're definitely not alone. I'm sitting here overwhelmed right along with you. And there's going to be lots more of these types of declutters to come because, as you can see, I've got a lot more to do to finish this project. So if that interests you, I do invite you to subscribe. I don't just have decluttering on my channel. I also have a lot of cleaning, a lot of homemaking, some recipes, and even a few DIYs thrown in. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I do invite you to click on the subscribe button.
I always feel like these are a worse mess than before, but because there's 8x10s in here. Honestly, I'm doing my best. I'm telling you. Stuff is hard. Photos may be my hardest declutter yet. That's because you're not decluttering them, and it feels insensitive and mean to just throw most of them away, right? But we don't look at them. I love them. Maybe I will, at some point, get to a place, that's the goal, where I can have a small book that goes through my life, 58 years, 7 kids. Oh. So this is trash. So what did I get rid of? 3 garbage bags today. That's good. Okay, I know this is awful. It's a huge project, but on the plus side, this is now clear. So if we ever want to be doing, like, you know, if my husband wants to be working down here, he just needs to fold up this table, put away the chair, and he can work.
Remember, as always, that God loves you and I love you too, and I can't wait to see you next time, which hopefully will be tomorrow.